Good afternoon. It's James Black here, producer James, and I'm with Marco in Italy. Soon to be back in Canada. Marco, how you doing, man?
I'm great, James. It's good to do a pregame with you. I think it's the first show that we record together.
Yeah.
Everything in Italy is going well. I have about one more week until I come back. Excited to be back, see the family, see my girlfriend, all the buddies, and to watch the Habs at a reasonable time. I mean, 1 a.m. is not too bad, but I mean, 7 o'clock's a lot better. So I'm excited to get back to reasonable hour of hockey too.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And hopefully that trip is going to serve you well in your journey back home. Tonight, obviously, big game. And I know I use that in air quotes. The Canadiens are playing the visiting Avalanche, who just got thumped last night by the Toronto Maple Leafs. Maybe a bit of a trap game for the Avs. Obviously, there's no shortage of ink been spilled on their capabilities to be a cup contender this year, but there's some issues with goaltending. And maybe going into tonight's game, we'll break down the lineup in a second, because I know there's a huge lineup shuffle that has got a lot of people concerned on the internet, specifically with respect to Cole Caufield. Perhaps we should just jump to that right now before we talk about more detailed matchups. The way we've got it reported by John Liu today, we've got Toffoli, Dvorak, Anderson, Lecky, Susie, Evans on the wing, Drouin, Paling, Armia, and then I don't think we've seen this line combo this year. Pezzetta, Perreault, and Caufield. People are losing their mind. Caufield is not a fourth liner. What's he doing there?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty shocked to see that too. But I mean, given the COVID protocol with Gallagher and Niku, I mean, some change-ups needed to be made. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is this the first time that we see Evans at right wing this season?
It might be. Obviously, they've had to use who they've got. So you mentioned Gallagher and Sami Niku, who's a defenseman. He's going to be off for a few days. We don't really know what the timeline looks like just yet. But, yeah, they've had to shuffle in a bunch of players, Kulak, Wideman. We've also got Perreault now, so, playing center. And, yeah, the way it looks like to me, Marco, is that Caufield is just a victim of circumstance here. Like, obviously, I don't think this is a demotion in the sense that he's going to have to play his way back into the lineup or into the top six. But, you've got 5 centers and 4 spots. So now you're going to move Evans, who's playing well, right? You got to play him.
Yeah.
And then Lehkonen as well is deserving of top 6 minutes. So you just don't look at that lineup. And maybe, if Caufield obviously wasn't a right winger, there'd be more moves for him to make. But you got to have Dvorak and Suzuki, obviously, front C1, C2. So I just think it's a victim of circumstance, because then what were you going to do? Put him on a line with Paling and Drouin, and then fill your back line, your fourth line with Pezzetta, Pro, and Armia? Like, that line would just do nothing, right? So
Yeah.
To me, it's a victim of circumstance. Is there any other way to look at this? Do you think this is a demotion, or is this just just cascade of lineup decisions that are not easy to make?
Well, I think it's like you said. I think it's kind of Caufield is just stuck in a situation where he's a victim of circumstance. I mean, he's definitely been playing very well past few games, been getting a few points, been playing aggressively like the Cole Caufield that we all know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also one of the reasons why this could have been him on the fourth line could be that perhaps like putting him with Perreault and Pezzetta instead of having like that in the line with Armia usually on the fourth line, where it could potentially get cooked, especially against an Avalanche team, which is really strong at the moment. I think having Caufield there and kind of spreading out the talent, especially a player like him on fourth line, could be a dangerous weapon. And I mean, we all know what the Avalanche's top 6 is capable of, but now I think their third and fourth really be put to the test, because we all know Caufield could put it in the back of the net. I personally like it. I think it'll give the bottom 6 pairings a little bit something for the Avs to worry about this game.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. It's not going to be a permanent fixture. I'm certain of it, but at least for now, the Selecki, Susie, Evans line, that seems interesting to me, because those have probably been the top 3 producers offensively for the team consistently through the season. I know Anderson's been heating up, and then Toffoli's got a few, but that line seems like it's going to have an interesting night tonight. Obviously, the firepower, as you mentioned, top 6 for the Avs is unlike anything really in the league, except for maybe the Maple Leafs. So last night, you saw what happened there. I think it was a trap game. I just think they're going to come back second night of a back-to-back. Toronto to Montreal is not a long trip. You're not crossing time zones. They're going to be hungry to redeem themselves. do you see this playing out any other way as like just weather the storm and see if, maybe some of those weird lineup matchups and maybe just some good goaltending from Allen gets you close in this one?
Yeah, well, I definitely think Allen's gonna have to bring his A game if we're gonna have a chance against the Avalanche. I mean, we talk about their team in their top six. I mean, Nazem Kadri is a second line center and he leads the team in points. Like, it's
Like on
definitely a
fire.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on my fantasy team too. So him and Ovi have been putting in the work. But yeah, I mean, Allen's gonna have to be sharp in this one. I think last game I watched the Leafs and the Avs play, and they got really just demolished early, like with early shots against. And I think this game they're gonna try to replicate that against the Habs. They're gonna come at them with everything they have. Frustrated, second game on the road. It's definitely going to be a rebound game for them. So that's something I think the Habs are going to have to look out for.
1,000%. Let's look at the defensive pairing. So we see some movement there as well. Sherrod, Savard back at the top, Kulak and Petry. So Kulak's back. Petry's now. This is different, in my opinion, than the Caufield situation. This is a vote of non-confidence to put Petry down to the second pairing. Though ice time may not vary too much. To me, this seems like, okay, finally, it's a bit of a signal that, hey, you gotta try something different here. And with Romanov and Wideman and the back end of that, there's a lot of pairings here that could get ice time tonight. What do you feel about this Petry move though? He's sitting in the middle there with Kulak. Someone who was also playing quite good throughout the season. Kulak, is this going to be enough to at least turn things around for Petry, get him started in a different direction, or are we just seeing, just got to play out of the funk? I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think Petry did show a bit more life last game. He was taking a lot more shots, like the offensive defenseman we know he is, and he was playing better defensively too. I think putting Savard up on the first line could be a good move because he is a very good defensive defenseman, and especially against the Avs, against all the weapons they have on their top line. I think it'll be good to have Savard with Sherrod up there, and Sherrod's been a solid first pairing D man, so I'm not worried about him. I think Petry could get it going on the second pairing. I don't mind the move at all. Kind of like playing Caufield on the fourth line. Mm-hmm. I definitely think maybe the Habs saw that. Okay, I think the fans were able to see it too, that Petry was getting it going a bit more last game, like I was describing. And I think maybe giving him the second pairing opportunity could kind of like feed off that confidence. And if you could put like one in the back of the net or set up a few points tonight, I think definitely get the confidence going. And then depending on how the rest of the season goes, next few games, maybe we'll see him back up with his usual partner up on the first pairing.
Yeah, or they ride it till Edmondson gets back, right? Because that's in the mix too. So speaking of people who are looking one step closer to rejoining the team, Carey Price started skating this week. If you saw some of the drills, I was kind of looking at it going, it's interesting. Like, he's a goalie, he's coming back, he's not in pads. So he was just working basically some very rudimentary sort of around the net rotations. I'm not a goalie guy, but it seemed like he was getting his just angles back and working his edges on his skates, and that was encouraging. Like, he was wearing a helmet. It looked like he was putting in the work. Did you see the footage? Did you get any impression that we were at least sniffing a Carey Price appearance maybe here in December?
Yeah, I did see the footage. It was really happy for me to see him. And Carey Price, one of my favorite Canadians of all time, and just to see him get back out there on the ice, skating, like even on his own, taking little strides, like you mentioned. Like, it's always encouraging for the fans to see. Like, no matter what it is, just him, it shows that he's putting in the work to coming back. He's motivated to coming back. I'm sure stepping on that ice for him too, as a player, must have felt extraordinary. And I'm sure he's just as buzzing to come back as we are to see him come back.
Oh, I bet. I mean, I remember just getting on the ice post-COVID. I'm not a professional hockey player. And just that sense of like, I'm back, it's something when your blade touches the ice, I think starts to, the muscle memory kicks in, why you came back to play or why you play the game comes back to you. And, maybe he started to feel that, and maybe we'll see him. My guess, Marco, is that he wants to get a crack at Team Canada. I think he's the consensus number one under the right circumstances. And I think that Canada would be most confident playing in front of him. So my guess is that, he's going to have that goal in mind. There's still about a month to build towards that. There's selection camp or selection list put out there now. They haven't really whittled it down yet, but I think they're going to need to see some body of work before they really consider him as a 1A. So last thing was just we looked at power plays. I believe looks like Wideman's going to be playing or running point on the PP1.
Yep.
That was sort of why he was brought to the team in the first place. He's a guy who can run that position. Any thoughts on that? I mean, do you get a sense that he's someone who's, with some of the games he's had on and off, he's someone who's going to be, a fixture on the power play going forward here on the first unit, or is this just, again, to kick other people into gear?
Well, from what I've noticed, when we have seen Wideman on the power play, he has shown signs of being that power play quarterback, and every team needs that guy. I mean, you have Makara on there for the Avs. I think Wideman could. I mean, I'm not comparing.
Not in the same breath.
But
yeah.
I mean, but any team needs their power play quarterback, and I think Wideman's shown signs of it, shown that he could fit in that role, and I'm excited to see what he could do tonight. I mean, the Habs power play, it's no shock. It's not a surprise. It's not the best, but I think if Wideman could bring some of that leadership on the power play, and I think the Habs could have a chance. Obviously, take advantage of their opportunities, stay out of the penalty box, key points as it is for every game.
Yeah, special teams has been just one of many pains for the team this year. So anything they can do to get a bit of a notch under their belt on that. So, okay, we'll leave it at that for now, Marco. I think that's a great lead up to tonight's game. I know people thought that it was, the Canucks, who are now on a 2-game winning streak, that game was a gimme. It certainly wasn't. The Avs, everyone thought they would go in and give the business to Toronto. They got worked. So goes to prove that in the NHL from any given night with such a long season, you never know what's going to happen. I think that's what keeps us coming back as fans. For every Canucks game, you have a Nashville game and you go, okay, like something could be happening here. Obviously, we're not going to talk too much about what happened earlier this week with the shuffle in the front office. But we are going to bring Deeks and Damon on today as well. So there'll be a clip that you can watch after this talking about the Gouli trade. Obviously, with his recent shortlisting to Team Canada for the juniors, a little disappointing, but also they got a bit of a haul on the way back. So Damon, who's just feeding on the prospect information, he's going to be able to break that down with Deeks and give you a good insight as to why that could be a good trade. So Marco, really appreciate it. I hope you get back before Christmas, and I hope to see you next time when I'm in Montreal. But first things first, enjoy the game tonight if you get a chance to watch it. And hopefully we stick with it.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I'm excited to see what they could do. Obviously, it'll be a test. Seeing the Leafs kick it to them yesterday is definitely an encouraging sign. And Johansson played very poor last game, and I think he will get the nod again tonight. So if the Habs could bring to him early like Toronto did yesterday, I could see it being an enjoyable game. I'll be staying up to watch it. So yeah, very much looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, everyone, for watching. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel, or if you have thoughts about tonight's game, the matchup. If we said something that wasn't right, hit us up in the comments. We don't mind. And again, if you are looking for some last-minute Christmas shopping, habstonight.net. That's habstonight.net. We've got still, I believe, 20% off if you use the promo code DALE. This is James. This was Marco. Thanks again for watching. Enjoy the game, and we'll see you soon on Habs Tonight.